Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Gabe.
It's Caleb.
And you guys are listening to the 50th episode of the Positive Outlook podcast.
Wow.
The 5th decade that we've been here to help you guys out. It's not a decade. We haven't been moving in decades.
Decade of what, weeks?
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah,
It's
almost.
a little off, I think, but.
Decades of weeks. But yeah, episode 50.
Wow.
So almost to a year. 2 weeks away from a year.
We're less than a month. For like April 26th was our first
Oh,
episode.
yeah. Yeah, so we're close.
Isn't it less than a month?
Yeah.
Yeah, by a day.
Yeah. So, pretty awesome stuff. We're
Mhm.
almost there. I think at 52, we're kind of going to take a break from epips.
Yeah.
We're going to do a couple of vlogs.
Yep.
Because it will be summer. We'll be able to get out more, talk to more people. And we'll wrap up the first season of Positive Outlook podcast on episode 52.
Yep.
And then from there, we will start doing a couple vlogs, take a little break. I'm moving. And I don't know where to yet, so that's kind of the scary part. So I'm moving out of here. So say goodbye to this studio. This has been the only studio that we've had for Positive Outlook.
Aren't we saying goodbye to this table after our recording episodes today?
Yep. Yeah, I'm throwing this old table out because it's the old 3-legger.
Trooper.
The whole studio is going to be changing once we move into the new place.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, once I move into the new place, not you. So yeah. But today, what are we talking about?
Well, today we're going to do a part 2 of our optimism, questions to promote optimism.
Yeah.
But first of all, I wanted to say on Apple Podcasts, the last few episodes didn't upload weekly.
Mm-hmm.
Spotify they did, YouTube they did, but not Apple Podcasts. So
Right.
We're going to look into that. They are up now. I think one of them only has like a snippet of our episode.
Yeah.
But we're going to fix that for you guys. If you're new here and you're on YouTube, make sure to smash that like and subscribe. If you're listening on the other platforms, feel free to follow. We just hit 100 followers on Spotify.
Woo.
So thank you guys. That's actually a pretty big milestone for Spotify. So we
Yeah.
appreciate you guys.
Thank you guys so much.
And we're ready to jump in.
All right, there we go. Sorry, I was just fixing my mic.
You're good.
All right, going into the first question. So these are the second of the 33 prompts.
If you don't know the first, what was it, 11?
Yeah.
Go back and watch the episode prior to this. We do all the questions, the first part of the questions, and then we're going to have a third part after this one. So
Yeah. So these are some really good questions to ask yourself as you go along. Try to answer them because they're fun. All right, moving into the first question. Did you know that positive thinking can be good for your physical health? Which
course.
is obviously,
Mhm.
that's pretty obvious.
For
And
us.
why do you think this is?
I think that, like, for physical health, you said?
Yeah.
I think it's because when you have a more positive mindset, you are, like, positivity in general. If you're leaning on the positive side, you're going to want positivity in not just one section of your life. And then on top of that, when you go with, like, when it comes to physical health, you take a more optimistic approach.
Mm-hmm.
And so not a lot of people correlate positive thinking with physical health, but it's huge. And even just in terms, because obviously everyone knows that it helps your mental health.
Right.
And when your mental health is starting to thrive, literally your physical health, you feel better,
Yeah.
you sleep better, and you're more likely to be on a routine, and you're going to hit the gym a little harder,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
So my opinion on it was a good opinion. I like
Okay.
yours. My opinion on it is that we rely on such things as like drinking, smoking,
True.
unhealthy foods that make us feel good about ourselves.
Mhm.
We rely on those for the chemical reaction we get with them.
Right.
So it's like that feel good, instant gratification
Yep.
that we might not be feeling in our lives. So we try to replace it with these things.
Mhm.
But I think when we have a better mental health, we tend to stray away from those because we know that they actually bring us down. They bring our
Right.
energy down and that kind of stuff. So when we have a good mental health, we don't rely on those other negative things.
Mhm.
And so I think it just comes full circle.
Definitely.
know?
Yep.
Alrighty, moving to the next question. I really like this one. What is the nicest thing someone has ever said about you? And how did it make you feel?
That is so hard.
You got to dig on this one.
Yeah. Oh, this is. If you come up with one first, you answer.
Yeah,
it.
so
I'm gonna think, but
I think it's something I've heard a couple times in my life, and it really is a reality check for me.
Mhm.
And that's why it's probably my favorite thing I've ever had someone say about me. But it's
Yeah.
that I have a good head on my shoulders.
Mhm.
And hearing that makes me feel like I have some good sense of guidance in my life.
Yeah.
And I remember I was talking, this wasn't even too long ago. This was probably 2 months ago. I was talking to somebody and they paused and they looked at me and they said, "Do you have a mentor?" And I was like, all right, that just makes
Right.
me feel good because that's obviously like a pretty significant thing to ask somebody, right? Like you're
Mhm.
going to ask that for a
Yeah.
reason. And so, and how did it make me feel? It made me feel like I was doing the right thing. It made me
Mhm.
feel like I was taking steps in the right direction and that I actually am executing the plan that I wanted to do when I was younger.
Yeah.
So,
I'm still digging.
yeah.
It doesn't help that I was into that. That was good. That's awesome. It's really hard
It is.
actually, because like it's not because of lack of, it's because there's so many, and like trying to choose the best one is so hard because they're all just, I've met some great people in my life. I don't know. I guess it's just in general when it's similar to yours.
Yeah.
I've heard, like I've had a few people, especially when I was kind of in in a funk,
Mm-hmm.
so to speak. They'll kind of like talk me down and be like, "Listen, like you are a good person," and so it's similar to that. I can't think of one specific. I wish I could, but I'm flipping through like several of them. I just love anything you have to say that's positive. Like, thank you.
Yeah, right.
Thanks to all the compliments, I guess. But they always just they're uplifting.
Yeah.
They uplift your soul sometimes. They uplift like your day. I mean, it's just be positive. Share some compliments with people. You'd be surprised. Some of the top listers are people I've never met before.
Yeah.
And it was more of just like an in-passing conversation.
Right.
And sometimes those are like the most impactful. So
Yeah. Good answer.
thank
Good.
you.
Clutched up a little bit right there.
Yeah, I know. Because there's just so many like little moments that I really do appreciate.
Alrighty, moving into the next one. What would you do if your best friend needed to be cheered up?
I would swing over and say, "Hey, let's record."
Yeah, it's literally as simple as that. Let's record an episode.
Mm-hmm.
It's very easy. I hate that answer simply because of our audience. It's
Right.
like, you walk over to your friend and you're like, "Yo, let's record today." It's like that probably doesn't work for every friendship.
But honestly, I'm start a podcast.
Yeah.
Why not?
I think it's the principle around the meaning of let's record. It's let's go do something together that we can grow in.
And will be productive. It takes your mind off of it, but it's not even necessarily always a distraction.
Yeah.
Because when we record, sometimes it's stuff that's going on right now.
Mm-hmm.
And so start off maybe by distracting them. Like when I'll put it in perspective of someone that I don't have a podcast with,
Mm-hmm.
I guess. I would probably say like, "Hey, you want to go get some food?" We'd go eat. We'd just hang out, act like everything's okay. And then after a little while, ask if like they want to talk about it or anything like that.
Yeah, kind of icebreaker, and then that's good. Pretty much same thing. Find something that you guys can do together that reminds them.
At the gym.
Yeah, that there's something to always look forward to.
Yep. Because before we had the podcast, the gym was our podcast.
Yeah. Alrighty, number 15. So I guess that's 4 for today. It's only human to make mistakes. Write about a time when you could have used this reminder. So we don't have to write about it. We're going to talk about it. But you guys listening, drop something in the comments. I always think these are so fun to answer.
Right.
Write about a time you could have used this reminder.
Which one?
I
do make quite a bit of mistakes.
Yeah. It's only human to make mistakes.
Right.
I think that's very important to just tell ourselves every day.
Honestly, that should be like in a daily affirmation.
I think that's one of the funniest things is like, regardless of if it's like I stub my toe,
right,
or like if I don't know, it's like it can range from like a tiny mistake to a huge mistake.
Mm-hmm. Like, oh no, I colored outside the lines, or oh no, my car is totaled.
Yeah, where like you can just take that step back and be like, I'm only human, where it's like you understand the actual like accountability that goes into it, but you're able to perceive it as like, okay, we make mistakes.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think that's like the easiest way to explain it, because there's not like one mistake I've made where it's
like I could think of probably hundreds, if not thousands.
Yeah. So this next one is kind of a challenge, and I guess if you guys were to comment one thing on this post, I want you guys to respond to this. So it says, try to keep a smile on your face for as much of the day as possible, then write about your experience. So I want you guys to do that tomorrow. So Tuesday, if you're listening to this when it comes out, I want you guys to
make it a happy Tuesday.
Yeah, make it a very happy Tuesday. Or even today, Monday. And then come back and write about it tomorrow. But smile for as much of the day as possible, and then come back and tell us what happened.
Yep.
That'd be awesome.
Seriously. And if you're listening on the other podcast, go to our Instagram, DM us, let us know.
Yeah.
We would love to hear this.
Yeah.
This would be great.
That'd be so cool.
We'll do it too. How about that?
Yeah, we'll do it as well. So do you find it easy to express your feelings, and then why or why not?
I would say no.
No.
It's just kind of difficult. For me, it really has to like build up to like talk about it.
Yeah.
And it's a habit I've been working on a lot recently.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why. I feel like there's some deep psychological reasons probably. But at a surface level, I feel like one, we talked about it in an episode a little bit ago. It's just kind of like the whole society thing. Like, don't talk about your feelings. But then there's also just like, it's not pride, and I'm not like scared to tell people that I'm struggling because I want people to know.
Yeah.
That way they know like they're not alone and that I'm struggling. I don't know. There's just something in me that's just kind of like doesn't want me to talk about it, I guess.
Yeah. I think before I met Riley, I would never express my feelings.
Yeah.
I was so like surface level. Obviously opposed to like having relationships with like friends and stuff.
Right.
I would go deeper and like getting to know them and letting them know me. But outside of that, like when it just came to meeting people, I wouldn't go into depth of like my childhood and stuff like that. But ever since I met Riley, she made me realize how important it is to open up and actually express my feelings.
Yeah.
And so I think ever since then, I've been very open.
That's awesome. I think another big helper is the group. When I know the last meeting that I made it to, like that was the most I've ever opened up, especially in front of that many people.
Yeah.
And I was so nervous. But I think little stuff like that. I know I text you once in a while after it's been a minute and I kind of like unleash the last couple weeks or whatever. But it's definitely gotten better. It used to be like months before I'd even think about talking to someone about it. So we've gotten it down to weeks. We're getting there one step at a time.
Yeah, baby steps.
But it's definitely important. You definitely need to release that.
Yeah.
If it's just sitting on your shoulders, it's going to weigh you down for a while.
Yeah.
And it just feels good to get it off.
Yeah.
Even a little bit, just off your chest.
Yeah, definitely. Moving into the next one. What can you do today to make someone else's day a little better?
Compliments.
Yeah. Simple as that. Tell someone you like their shoes, you like their shirt, their hair looks good today, something like that.
Yep.
Just little simple things. I think we don't really need to go into much depth with that one.
That's I mean, you guys can come up with all your crazy ideas because I know there's all sorts of stuff, but literally just as simple as a compliment. You don't need money to give.
Yeah. And then going to the next one, make a list of positive I am blank. So like I'm strong, I'm courageous, I'm confident. And they're all statements that you can read to yourself when you're feeling sad. So that's like another challenge. It's not really anything we have to elaborate on.
Some of these are kind of like a to-do list.
Yeah.
Either way, it's promoting the optimism because if you're in a bad spot and you can put what you are still going to do, that's a good thing.
Yeah. When you're in a bad mood or feeling tired, do you prefer to be left alone or spend time with others, and why?
For me, it's a 50-50 split. There are times where I feel like I cannot be alone. Like I don't need to talk to anyone necessarily, but there's just times where I just kind of need like someone around.
Yeah.
Just so I don't feel like I'm going down this like rabbit hole by myself. But then there's times where it's like I need to face this alone. Yeah. And so I'd say it's pretty split.
Yeah, I hear you. It really depends. Like if I'm in like a depression, like if it feels like that, I want to be left alone, like kind of just lay in my bed and not talk to anybody, not go outside. But it's like, and then on the other end of the spectrum, if I'm like anxious about something, I want to hang out with people. Right. So it is, yeah, kind of 50-50. It just kind of,
it depends on the scenario, I guess.
Yeah. Next one. People say every cloud has a silver lining. What does this phrase mean to you?
It means everything.
Yeah.
Honestly, I mean, first of all, optimism is a big partner of positivity. And I mean, that's kind of a big theme with us.
Yeah.
But seriously, that's like the most important thing. When you are in your darkest moments, just know there's always that silver lining. Yeah. Because no matter how bad it is, and like this isn't something you tell someone, but just know like it can always be worse. Yeah. Infinitely. Yeah. And so there's always some sort of silver lining. Yeah. Somewhere.
Yeah. Pretty much. Like you always say, this too shall pass. And so that's very true. And then the last question, we'll make this one important. What do you like to make yourself feel better when you're feeling down?
Wait, what do I like to what?
What do you like to do to make yourself... Okay. I'm sorry, I don't think I said that.
I was just making sure it wasn't like, what do you like to make?
Yeah.
Okay.
What do you like to do to make yourself feel better when you're feeling down?
I feel like we should definitely break this one down because off the bat, I'm going to say podcast and gym.
Yeah.
And I've said that about 1,000,000 times for
Yeah.
similar questions. But there's all sorts of little things you can do.
But I think you should go into the podcast and the gym and explain why those, like the principle behind them, not just the action.
All right, yeah. So the podcast, it's because, first of all, we get to sit down. We get to do something we're passionate about. We get to do something that we're driven for. We get to do something that we have waited and put in time for and are going to put in even more time as we continue.
Mm-hmm.
There's people out there that I feel, I don't know if it's kind of selfish to say this, but I feel like they need to hear us. Even if it's me knowing like, okay, I need to like sit down and talk about this.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So then there's that. Then with the gym, again, just bettering yourself. You're putting time in. It feels good to express yourself physically.
Mm-hmm.
And so I feel like this is great because the podcast is more for the mental part of it.
Right.
And then the gym is physical. And what else are you missing? Really nothing.
Yeah.
And then in general terms for anybody, go for a walk, go for a drive, go for a dance, call somebody, call your mom. I know when I've had like a really bad day and like I don't even know if I really talk to my mom about what's going on, but I just talk to her.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it's nice. It's calming. It's your mom's always there, hopefully.
Mm-hmm.
I know mine is. So
yeah, definitely. Those are good. Mine, I've mentioned it quite a bit on the podcast before, but mine is planning. And so like having something to look forward to. So when I'm feeling down, it's always because like this moment that, and this is very general. It's like when you're feeling down, it's because the moment that you are in, you don't want to be in anymore. So being able to plan and look ahead and remember that where you are right now is temporary.
Yep.
Even if you're planning for a year down the road, if it's that extreme, you're still planning something to look forward to.
Definitely.
And I think that is so important in life, is having something to look forward to.
And another thing too is, because the question was, what do you do when you're like in okay, so another thing I do is I try to like almost, and you got to be careful. You got to be really careful, especially if you overthink or you are an anxious person.
Yeah.
Be very careful, but kind of like analyze why you're there. Because you don't want to go down too far because you'll just end up beating yourself up.
Yeah.
Trust me on that one. But if you can analyze why you're there and you can either take fault or understand what you learned from that while you're feeling down, it'll start making you feel better because it's kind of like, okay, this isn't some out of control avalanche.
Right.
I can actually sit here and like work on myself a little bit.
Yeah. And I think if you go that route and you kind of analyze, and the solution that you come to is that either because you deserve it or that because you're not good enough to get out of that situation, you need to shut up. Like that. It's that simple.
Seriously.
Like though neither of those are true.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, we are all capable of being the captains of our own lives and choosing the fate that we want. And I think it's very important that you guys realize that. If those are the two conclusions you're coming to, that like this is meant to be, this is my path, I don't deserve happiness, then you just need to shut up.
Seriously, just stop that voice in your head because that's all it is. It's this little voice that likes to kind of sneak in once in a while.
Yeah.
And we've all had run-ins with it. Just some people have come out on top and some not so much. And you just need to understand that that's always going to be there because in this, I feel like in this life, we're all meant to be ordinary.
Yeah.
And then it's what we do with what we have that decides whether we're ordinary or not. And so it's up to you to decide. Are you going to let this voice overtake every thought in your head? Or are you going to decide, no, that's BS.
Yeah, right. As simple as that. So, yeah. Anything else you want to add today?
It feels good to be back. I'm back for spring break.
Yeah.
In Gaylord, I go to Traverse, so it's nice being back here. So again, thank you guys, everybody. I just felt like I had to say thank you for some reason, and then I also felt like I had to say it's good being back because it's great. Yeah. As always, thanks guys for tuning in. Appreciate it very much. Make this week wonderful. Do the smile challenge. Let us know. Answer these questions in the comments. We would love to. Or DM us if it's more personal for you. Go ahead. And happy Monday. Happy Monday. See you guys. Bye.